Rohit, good to have you on the show. You know, Friday was the most confusing trade, I think, for a lot of people. People might have expected a complete slam dunk, but we got a massive recovery. How does this market look? Because we're again back to that 99.50 pivot on the Nifty.
So at the end of the week, I think it continues to look pretty good. I think what we did today helped a lot because I was very, very closely watching two things. One is if you just take the rising trend line from the bottom that we made in March and you take it to the low that we made last month at 8,700 and you pull it up, then it comes to around 94.50. But above that, we had the 20-day moving average, I think, both on the Bank Nifty and Nifty. In the case of Nifty, it was at 9570, and in the case of Bank Nifty, it was close to around 19,300. So both of those levels ended up holding right in the morning. And I got a sense of that looking at most of Asia, which had opened down and then, picked up from there. So it became an important level that we just watch. And if it didn't break on a closing basis, then it would be a good sign that the broader trend is at least intact on the way up. What we've ended up getting, I think, is a short-term correction from what might have been a near-term overbought kind of condition. And now that that reaction is done, we should probably see the upward trend continue. And I think the positive close that we got end of the day probably gives us a little more confidence in that view. If it was still negative, you'd still consider some alternates. Will we retest the 9600 level? But I think end of the day, looking at it, it looks like we've had the panic reaction and should probably continue higher from here.
As always, Rohit, talk about the global setup as well. And I think you're looking at the NASDAQ with some data.
Yeah, so the NASDAQ 100 is pretty interesting because over the last 2 months, I think it's the one index which has not only gone past its key retracement levels, but to an all-time high. I think all the other US indices have not yet gone there, even though they are past their 61% retracement mark. So when we are looking at this big reaction, it was, I think, pretty big in terms of percentage because it's the biggest percentage one-day decline we've seen since the March bottom. Especially, I think the Dow and S&P fell 7-6%, so it was quite big. But when you look at the NASDAQ itself, because it has had a bigger run, we've had six. In fact, this is the sixth. So you've had 5 previous corrections, which were not more than 1 or 2 days long at each point of time, somewhere between 3 to 3.5%, 3.7%, 4%. And this one yesterday was a little more than 5% from the high. Close to close, it was around 5%. And so all these corrections lasted for a day on some panic, either related to COVID, China, or some external news coming in, or Trump's remarks. And then the following day, it recovered from there. So so you start to wonder that, should you really react to this one-day move? Because it's happening every time. It shakes you out because of all the concerns that the market has. And then it just continues higher from there. So ideally, you wait for another day and see whether it's a one-day reaction. And if that's the case, then you don't react to it because at this level of volatility, you see the US VIX is still, it's back above 30%. The India VIX has been around there. And unless these really go back to 20% or low, I think this kind of volatility is going to be normal for us.
Rohit, for emerging markets to do well, the dollar's got to stay down. Will it? Because, the Fed was dovish, but the dollar strengthened. It was surprising. What's your view?
So I think, many times what happens is, and it's similar to what happens in stocks, right? You buy on news and then, you buy an expectation and you sell on news. So it's, I think, something similar. If you look at the dollar's move since they started to intervene in March, it actually stopped rising. It was strongly going up and then it stopped rising. For some time, it looked like, will it fall? And then eventually has fallen off. So from the high of 104 or from the May high of 100, we came close to 96. And we've just moved up from, say, 96 to 96.5, 96.6 overnight, which is not a really big move. It might just be because the announcements came and so some people did some profit booking who were anticipating it, and that much is done. But when you look at the broader trend, everything that he said is something that will play out over the next 6 to 8 months because they'll continue to intervene. And some people might say that, well, they're only intervening through by $100 billion a month, which is not much compared to how much they've really done. But I think a lot of what they do is now no more in the commentary, because if you see their repo operations, there are many, many times that they just step in and buy $100 billion on a particular day. They just did that last week itself. For 2-3 days they were buying, and on one day it was almost 100 billion. So their monthly purchase plan is more like a minimum which they're going to do. But they would probably overstep that if they have to, because there's going to be a lot of borrowing that the US itself will have to do to meet its deficit. and that will continue to mean bearish for the dollar. So I think it's a trend rather than a one-day event, and I would expect the dollar to continue to go down from here.
Right, fair enough. And Rohit, yes or no to this, because we are out of time. And your favorite theme in terms of markets here remains reflation themes, commodities, metals?
Yes, that I think is on top of the line, because the falling dollar directly pushes up commodity prices, gold prices, and gold mining stocks. So investments that are directly related to that, I think, are the easiest bet as of now, till you really start looking at where economic growth is going to take place. The second thing you do is search for value stocks, because I think this is a great value buying opportunity, given that you had a 2.5-year bear market in mid and small cap stocks.
Okay, as always, a pleasure. Rohit, thank you very much for coming on and explaining how things look as we come back next week.